Kiri, which was on Channel 4 on Wednesday night. This was the new drama from Jack Thorne, who brought us National Treasure, which we all really enjoyed here on the Costa TV podcast. This is a new four-parter. National Treasure was four parts as well. Stars Sarah Lancashire as Miriam, a Bristolian social worker who's a very sort of effervescent type. You know, everyone knows her in the community. She's got a lot of different cases she's working on. One such case involves a girl called Kiri, who is a black girl who's about to be adopted by white foster parents. Miriam has sort of talked about the importance of getting to know her birth family, in this case her birth grandparents, and has been arranging, we assume, like supervised visits in the past, and the events, the Kiri starts on the day of the first unsupervised visit between her and her grandparents, and basically one thing leads to another, and Kiri goes missing. Miriam gets blamed for it by her boss and later by the press, and then in spoiler alert,
spoiler if you haven't seen it.
Spoiler. Kiri is found dead, and the investigation starts. It is believed that her father is the most likely suspect. He did see her on the day he was with his parents, her grandparents.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Miriam is being vilified in the press.
So, as you've probably ascertained, the media has discovered your identity. The leak did not come from this office, I hasten to add.
Do you know where it did come from?
It is being investigated, but that's for another time. Now, I understand that you've waived union representation for this meeting.
I'm a closet Tory. I despise the unions. No, I didn't think at this point it was, just thought I'd find out where I stood first.
Well, in my judgment, it's probably worth contacting them after this.
Feed me to the wolves, are you?
No. But our primary duty of care is towards Kiri, of course. The decision to allow the grandparents unsupervised contact does seem, well, certainly on the surface, a bold one.
Does it?
And your interviews with them to establish the boundaries. The notes certainly don't reflect the gravity of what you've allowed for.
I tried to keep my notes positive.
Studying your past record, there are a few instances where it appears that you've made bold decisions, occasionally with mixed results.
I don't think that's fair.
Miriam.
Oh, now she gets involved.
Seamus Trent. Ngozi Graham.
Or investigated.
99% of the time, you are exceptional, but there are times when you follow your own judgment.
Because early intervention saves lives.
No one's disputing that you care about the children, but let's just try and have an honest conversation here.
Okay, I can do honesty. You're my line manager. If you felt this was in any way unsafe, you should have done something. How honest is that, Julie?
The papers are claiming that we prioritised her cultural needs over her safety needs. They're claiming that we allowed her into an unsafe home in order to tick our lefty boxes. Think that's fair?
No.
You weren't influenced by her cultural needs?
Yeah, of course I was. It's part of my job, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also part of a job to assess whether a home is safe.
Nathaniel and Toby were estranged.
Well, they obviously weren't. You made a judgment, and in so doing, you returned a girl into the hands of a chaotic and dangerous parent.
I didn't know. I would never knowingly have put Kiri in danger. I recognise I can push the envelope sometimes, but Julie will tell you.
I have told him that 99% of the time your judgment is usually impeccable.
Like that percentage, don't you? Stick a flake in it before you try and sell it to the tabloids, why don't you?
First things first, I did do a little background reading. Jack Thorne, he grew up. His mother was a carer for people with learning disabilities, which is an area I work in now.
I learned that at he went over that at the screening. You probably read notes from a screening.
It probably is notes from the screening. Yeah, I would imagine it is. And what intrigued me was that he said that even before he wrote National Treasure, he wanted to write something along this line. You know, he wanted to write something that dealt with social workers
about the caring profession.
Like
he said it was about. He wanted to write about the caring profession.
And he wanted to write, I think from what I picked up, he wanted to show it warts and all, you know, and this, I think that's what Kiri is. I know that it's received some critical words from social workers in the press because it obviously is a drama, and I think that's what people need to remember. First of all, Sarah Lancashire is not really a social worker. She is an actress, and therefore this is a dramatic...
And Miriam is a character. Miriam is a character as well.
Miriam, and really, what you're showing is a lot of things that wouldn't happen, but have happened. You know, a lot of the things that go on in the episode are not indicative of what a social worker would really do. No. That said, Sarah Lancashire is really good. I really like the writing. I believe everything in it. I find it highly believable. And I think that's something that came from National Treasure as well.
Even the dog?
Even the dog is very believable. Even the farting. And I think there is a big link to National Treasure. Obviously, this writer loves to include the press. The press were a big part, a silent part of National Treasure, and also in this episode.
They weren't a silent part, were they? They weren't a character. There wasn't a character. There wasn't a journalist.
Yeah, faceless
character.
And nameless in the sense that they hounded her at her home and at her place of work, but you never saw any of them, and all you heard were the shouted questions. I do think a little bit that without Sarah Lancashire's character, I'm not sure how this would go down. Now, that sounds like a really strange thing to do, but
no, I know.
I wasn't particularly enamoured with any of the police officers or the grandfather, because he came across as, I mean, obviously he knew, or there was an implication that he knew his son would try and do something, but didn't really seem to do anything about it, or kind of blamed his wife.
Yeah.
For letting
who I
him
didn't recognise at all as Andy Osho, the comedian.
You're joking. Gosh, no, I didn't know that.
No.
Wow, that's heavily made up. Or
yeah,
you know,
what I would say in response to you, you are right. Jack Thorne did say that both Kiri and National Treasure are going beyond the headlines, because it is a believable, something like this could happen, as you say. It's not, social workers aren't all like Miriam.
No.
And most social workers would make sure that all the sort of grey area was these two people were, Toby and Nathaniel, were estranged, and she said that. Whereas I think a lot of people were attacking the fact that, oh no, you would know either way, you would make 100% sure that was the case.
But again, you know, I think what you've also got to remember is you're dealing with some of the unknown. It wouldn't be possible for them to know. They would go on what, you know, if the grandfather had turned around and said, well, I haven't seen my son in 7 years, you would kind of believe him at face value. You do a background check, I'm sure, on, you know, where he currently lives and things like that. I think the only thing which irked me a little bit was on the way from the foster parents' house to the grandparents, there were these kind of moments where she almost kind of like felt something was wrong. And I know that's something that perhaps will come out in some of the later episodes. You know, the first episode doesn't deal with everything. I do kind of feel like, I don't know, is that just a little bit clunky? Maybe,
I didn't find that. I think there's always that. I think there is always that natural worry about leaving a youngster. I think if she didn't feel some sort of worry, then you would be unfeeling. I think that is a natural thing. And I don't know if I like, but I think the writing was very clever. How they were making a big deal about Kiri not liking her neck and wanted to wear a scarf. And then later on, when the granddad goes to identify the body, her neck has been slashed, and he's talking about her neck in a different light, and it is really sort of harrowing. It was very funny, this, as well. There was a lot of, when I went to the screen, there was a lot of laughs, certainly early on.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 points I would agree with. 2 things I would say. One, I definitely agree with the humour. There are laugh-out-loud moments. I particularly loved the "I don't even like sausages" moment, and I don't know why. It kind of like made me laugh. The other thing I would say is, as someone who's worked in the public sector and has experienced a little bit of this unfortunately does tend to be a public sector way of doing things. Is if there's been a problem, instead of the old brush it under the carpet, it's now find somebody to highlight and blame. Yeah. So this is something that does tend to happen sometimes when mistakes are made, and we're all human when we make them. And I don't think that really Miriam made a lapse in judgment. I think it was a genuine error, and yet she's been, as you say, scapegoated for it, and that unfortunately has happened in the past.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is totally, and I mean, just general views from me, totally realistic for me. I mean, there are those sort of moments of dramatic fancy, not really, but as I say, it's not a documentary, it's not a fly on the wall, it's not based on true events. It is a fiction, so you need those small moments, but generally you believed everything that went on. I loved the scene with Sue Johnston and Sarah Lancashire. I thought that was amazing.
You following the case of the missing kid?
I knew that was you.
They found her body. It's going to be announced.
What?
They found her body, Mum. My kid. They found her body. I didn't know where to come, so I came here.
You're puffy. I can always tell when you're not taking care of yourself. I don't expect you to look great, but do your best with what you've got. It's always been our way. And you're not doing your best.
No. Got an update from the nurses. They say you're being abusive.
They're stealing from me.
They're not.
It's the black ones you need to watch.
You really do.
Fuck them.
They work very hard.
Fuck them.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. Why do you come here?
I don't know.
Kiri. Right?
Yeah.
Nice girl, was she?
Yeah.
Have you got anything to drink? Don't bring me chocolates anymore. They play havoc with my dentures. Oh, and that Denise.
Well, your best friend?
Well, she always takes the best ones.
Maybe I'll bring chocolates for Denise. Thank her for staying friends with you.
Sarah Lancashire, amazing. Probably another BAFTA. This is the first really sort of big, good drama worth watching, worth talking about on a weekly basis, I think.